Welcome to another Q&A office hour and strategy call. Happy early summer, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in New Jersey. I'm super excited to be here with you today. Happy to get back on schedule after a super busy end of Q1. And we are back on track. I just wanted to note here that we are streaming live into LinkedIn and YouTube as well for our friends who aren't on Facebook. And then we are streaming live into our Facebook group. So if you are on our Facebook group, please drop in a comment and say hello. We do have special surprise guests today. I'm going to be bringing them on in a second. Let me just open up our live stream here and make sure that everything is working out great. Yep, looks like we are live. Let me just open up our live stream here. Perfect. Excellent. So today we are going to cover some key integrations, and I'm also going to be covering some frequently asked questions about both the content library and the media planning software. As always, if you are joining me live, please feel free to drop a note in the chat and I will be happy to answer your questions. Karen and Abby, welcome. Thank you so much. Karen Reiser is on with us now. I just want to say a special thank you to Karen for continuing to support our community with coaching calls. If you have not attended one of Karen's coaching calls, it is a must do. We have limited seats available. The way that the coaching calls are running right now is that they're every other week in between our strategy calls. And the coaching calls are live on Zoom. So you get a little bit more one-on-one attention from Karen Reiser, who is a practicing registered dietitian and understands our content and our meal planning software really well and how it can apply to practice. So make sure that you sign up for those. Welcome, Michelle, Rebecca, good to see you. Okay, so today's Q&A office hour and strategy call is going to begin with some surprise guests. I'm going to bring them on now. And this was very last minute. Hey, Betsy and Innie, hi.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody say hi to two of your favorite people, I am sure. For those of you who don't know, Betsy and Innie are like our power cooking video production team. So I'm going to let them do a lot of the talking now, but we were just chatting this morning. I think Betsy sent me a text, didn't you, Betsy? Like, yeah. Hey, Innie and I are together today and we're producing these videos. Let's chat about, kind of what's next. And I asked them to come on with us today because I just thought it'd be fun for you all to kind of meet them, quote unquote, in person. So say hello. Betsy is on the left, Innie is on the right. So can you guys introduce yourselves for those of our guests who don't know who you are? So introduce yourselves individually and then tell us what you do for Living Plate RX community.
Okay, I'm Betsy Ramirez. I am a registered dietitian. I own Ramirez of Nutrition that focuses on food video communications, and I do all of the cooking video production for Living Plate. I've been doing it about, 3 years now. So we started out with just editing Jenny's videos, and then we've moved on to where I'm doing the full production, and then we brought on Innie. So I'll let Innie introduce herself.
Hey everybody, my name is Innie Isan Edegi, also known as the Niger Goddess. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and chef and herbalist, and I have the pleasure of working with Betsy on creating these wonderful cooking videos with Living Plate, and I'm also on the content management board with Jeannie.
Yeah, so Innie is one of our content development board members. Remember, our content development board is made up of 12 practicing registered dietitians, so dietitians, and also culinary specialists. So Innie, you fit in the culinary specialist bucket, and Innie supports us with content ideas and also reviewing the content. So Innie, so it's such a pleasure to have met you. And I think we met because you became a member of our community, right? And That's then right. You were just super active in the Facebook group. And then I saw some of your work and like, I need to work with this person. And it just so happens you're not so far from Betsy, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes.
So fantastic. And, you never know when you put two people together, especially in a small place, doing something that's really high stress. And I'm going to ask you guys to talk a little bit about the video production process, but why don't you first talk about what it's like working together?
Oh, she's my sunshine. That's what I call her. I love her. Like, I feel like the first time we met, I was like, I feel like I've known you my whole life.
We
And
clicked.
we just like instantly clicked. We probably did a little bit more talking than filming the first time.
But the first,
But-
you had 2 days that first time, right? So
Yeah,
that's true.
we had
That's
2
true.
days, but she's just like joy and light. And she's just, I can't ask for like, God sent her to me. That's all I can
Oh.
say. She's my sunshine.
We're definitely friends in real life, for one. And two,
So
I
beautiful.
told Betsy that she was actually on my vision board last year because I just loved her work, and I've stalked her on the internet, and I was like, I'm going to work with her. I'm going to meet her and Jeannie. And it came to fruition. So it's just been the absolute pleasure. She's such a creative genius. You are.
So she likes to make me cry. This
She
becoming a
is.
thing.
She's a creative genius, and I just soak up all of her energy, and I'm just grateful to be her friend.
Aw.
Somebody is asking where you located. They can tell you're both from the South. Tell us where you guys are located.
I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, and that's where we are today.
Okay.
I live in Charlotte. I'm actually from Nigeria. I just neutralized my accent to fit where I live now.
She's very good at it.
And tell me kind of what you both bring to the table, pun completely intended, in terms of video production. Betsy, you go first. Kind of what kind of skill set and history are you bringing to the table?
Well, it's just the whole production process, just like from the initial recipes to looking at them to be able to storyboard them, source ingredients, shop for them, making sure like she'll tell you Columbia, South Carolina doesn't have a lot sometimes. So I have to call her and say, can you bring? So like sourcing ingredients, and then, the setup, the making sure I have the right equipment, camera, lighting, backdrop. Do I have the appropriate plates, forks, serving utensils, ramekins? It's like I have quite a bit of inventory when
She
it
does.
comes to like glassware. I have a ton of that, and then you want to make sure it looks good. So photography, props, stuff like that you just to kind of make it more of a warm, inviting kind of photo. I like to bring that kind of stuff in. So it's soup to nuts, every part of the production process. And you can kind of see it behind us today. You can see my chair a little bit more.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yes. Yeah, we
See.
can totally see it.
our mise en place
Yeah,
for the next video.
that's the mise en place for the next video we're doing. And
Okay.
it has where we have all the ingredients set out, and I put all the text above it so you can kind of see. And then we do have an example of a finished product we did earlier today.
What is that?
This is the cabbage stir fry from the Eat Well Exchange ladies.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So you had made this relationship with these ladies. And
Jasmine and Ashley from Eat Well Exchange. Yes.
yes,
I
and we were
met
making
them.
their
That was so great. So before I have any talk about her kind of zone of genius, let me just say that Betsy, you were with me at today's Dietitian Symposium in May, and I
Yes.
was doing interviews in the booth. I was just grabbing people walking by, and I saw Jess and Ashley, and I recognized them because I follow Eat Well Exchange on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I need to talk to these women because they're doing exceptional work. I mean, Eat Well Exchange, they are on the ground, like in different communities doing cooking videos, like not videos, demonstrations. So like
Right.
really, on the front lines of, changing the game really for nutrition and on all of these communities. So really respect what they do. And Betsy and I were like, let's do something together. This has got to, something has to come of this. In like 10 minutes, we said, okay, we're going to do one pot meals, right? Like veggie heavy one pot meals. And so it worked out. Did you only make one so far?
one so far.
Okay.
So we're getting ready to do the second one, which
Right.
is the
Garbanzo
garbanzo bean stew. So
Perfect.
that one's next. We're set up for it, and then we have a sweet potato hash that we're making. For them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And did you talk about the cameras that you use?
So I have a Canon DSLR, and I have a zoom lens that I use because I do a lot of zooming in and out.
Yep.
And then I also have an external monitor that I use so that when Innie's doing it, she can kind of see what's happening and she's not blind as to what's going on.
Explain what that is. I mean, You explain what that is. I know what it is, and I use one myself too. But why would you want to use an external monitor if you're producing a cooking video?
Because you're relying, the screen on a DSLR is so tiny, and it's really hard to see if you're really, in focus. If you're
Alignment.
like, I call it my 4-corner check. Yeah. So you have 4 corners of your video, and you need to know what's in each 4 corners, because you could have your phone on a corner. You could have a hand, a sock. I've had a sock before. So you just have to like make sure your 4-corner check is mapped out, and you can't really see it in that small screen. So you need an external monitor. Usually they're about 7 inches, and they're relatively cheap. You can get like the newer brand is the one that I have. But it just connects to your camera, and I 3D printed a little stand for it. My husband did. So it props up, and I don't have to worry about it. And it's my camera's attached to my C-stand, which is the absolute must-have of any cooking video.
I'm looking at mine right now. 100% agree. So if any of you are looking to do cooking videos, like even outside the cooking videos that Betsy and Innie are producing for you, if you just want to do a quick reel or an Instagram story, the C-stand, wow, like that was a game changer for me. And like I went through a series of like DIY, like bags of sand and marbles. Just, you know what I'm talking about, right, Betsy? Like if you put a DSLR camera on one side of a tripod, like you have to balance the weight on the other side. So you have to like fill a bag, and it's just, oh my gosh, like the C-stand, game changing.
Yes, I actually used a crock pot stacked on books, and I duct taped my tiny little iPad tripod to it, duct taped it, and that had that hanging over for my first videos were like, I keep those up just to remind myself of how far. Like seriously, who duct taped,
right? Yeah, but one of the benefits of working with us and with you guys is that like we make all the mistakes so that our members can like just go, right? Like they don't have to make those mistakes again. So yeah, don't waste your time on like trying to figure it out with equipment that's not a C-stand. Like just get the C-stand, because it's worth every penny. Okay. So Innie, tell us like, what do you bring to the table? So Betsy, it sounds like your technology, your production, right? Your storyboard creator, right? So we'll talk about a storyboard in a second. Innie, let us know, what is your zone of genius? And I'm going to have something to say about it too, because
I'm not sure. I would say I've brought some recipes before just to have to shake it up, and more plant-based recipes for sure. And I'm also a chef, a former pastry chef, pre plant-based lifestyle. So I bring some of that to the table too. I just really execute the vision that you, Jeannie, and Betsy have, and to the best of my ability. That's okay. I'm just glad to be a part of.
Oh, she's being really shy. I mean,
let me just say, you never know. You told me you were a trained chef. You told me, that you knew how to cook, but like, you just never know, right? Until you put somebody in front of the camera. Your knife skills are exceptional, like really exceptional. Betsy, what would you have to say?
Oh, she just doesn't even give herself enough credit. So of course she doesn't, but she looks over the recipes. She helps me edit things when we get, we're going to talk about this later in another meeting, but when we get recipes from members, sometimes they're not thinking of it from a production standpoint, and they're not thinking of it from a chef standpoint.
Right.
And like, even when we were at Today's Dietitian, there was a recipe editing course, and it's just like making sure you're very, very specific. She brings her talents to the table, and being able to review those, make suggestions. Even like last time we were together, she's like, we were doing salads. And she's like, well, we could do this one plant-based too. So all we had to do was literally not add the chicken. And we did a whole separate video that was plant-based. So she has so much creativity. We are just like such a great team. Yeah, we just get so excited when we're together.
Really feed off of each other. And look, our members are beneficiaries of that partnership because they get extra videos as a result, right? So you created this video with the chicken, but wow, not a big deal just to recreate it without the chicken, or add some other type of plant-based protein. So really great. I just want to correct myself because I was talking about Eat Well Exchange as the source for these recipes. And when I said Jessica, I half knew that I got that wrong. It's Jasmine. So Jasmine Westbrooks and Ashley Carter. And they are the brains behind and the women behind Eat Well Exchange. So just wanted to correct myself there. Okay, so let's talk about a storyboard. So like if I wanted to just create a simple video, let's say I just wanted to shoot a quick video of me making my dinner, like nothing highly produced. What should I, in terms of a storyboard, what should I be thinking about? And in terms of my equipment, like just basic stuff.
Okay, equipment, if you want to be basic, your phone. You also really need a tripod. It can be a small tripod, but you've got to have a tripod because a shaky video isn't one that people are going to stay around for.
Okay.
So you need to plan that. You need to map out your ingredients as part of your storyboard. Do you want to show them all? We were talking about this a few minutes ago, like on a reel.
Yeah.
Do you really want to show all the ingredients? Do you want to show all the prep work that's involved in that? No, reels are not geared for that. Reels are fast. They want to see what is the most tempting and tantalizing part of that recipe that I can bring.
Right.
So like if you have to reverse engineer it, and you start with the beauty shot in mind, that very end shot. And it usually should be a close-up shot, or like if you're pouring something on top of something, that should be your opening shot. And then you reverse engineer from there. Okay. I don't want to show chopping all the vegetables, but I do want to show everything going into the pot. And then you need to think, after you get kind of that down, maybe staying at one angle, you can take it to another level, and then you can get different angles, like close-up shots, far away shots, 45-degree angles are really great shots.
Yeah.
Overhead shots. That's what you would map out on a storyboard, but you keep it simple at first. Don't make it really complicated. Stay at one angle when you're first getting started, but always storyboarding it out, your ingredients.
Now, tell everybody what a storyboard is, because many of our guests might not know.
So it's basically, you're just writing it down on a piece of paper or something that I have a printable that has a storyboard on it, where it just gives you an opportunity to do like an intro and an outro, and then you fill in the blanks in between. Mm-hmm. So it's basically just writing down the process. It's kind of like a roadmap.
The visual journey
on paper is the way I describe a storyboard.
And then also, when you and I first, we started doing storyboards, it probably took us about 2 months to establish kind of a workflow that was really great. And then we don't do storyboards anymore. But also kind of dropping in the text, like what are you going to say? What's happening here? Are you going to highlight an ingredient? Are you going to highlight a health benefit? So also thinking about the text overlay for those videos. Okay.
That's a huge point if you're going to be doing that. If you have text in now reels aren't as geared to that anymore. I'm not seeing a lot of text in that. But if you're going to be doing like a legit like cooking video, and you're going to be adding some of those things, like even when I'm doing the mise en place back here, all of that is.
Wait, stop right there. Tell our guests, what is mise en place?
The literal translation in front is everything in place.
Okay.
So it's before you start, you want to make sure you have all of your ingredients prepped and measured before you actually begin the recipe. So that's the mise en place.
And you don't have to. I made this decision very early on. It was before I was an RD. When I was a culinary instructor, I would often go to other classes just to kind of see what other people were doing and learning from them. And the classes that were such a drag were the ones where I had to watch the culinary instructor like chop an apple or slice an onion. Like nobody needs to see you doing that from the beginning to the end, right? So a lot of what you guys do is like you'll show maybe chopping one celery stalk, but not all that is required for the recipe, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that. Like just the basics, please, right? Unless it's like a specific video, which we do have. I actually produce those myself, of how do you chop an onion, like 4 ways to chop an onion. That's different. But for the recipe, do you really need to show everything? I guess the
Yeah.
answer, what you're saying is no. Oh, look at your dog wants to go outside.
She has to always make a Zoom appearance. That's the kids were supposed to have her upstairs. I just texted them the dog.
That's great. So if anybody has any questions for Innie and Betsy, we're going to start talking a little bit about trends that we're seeing kind of from a culinary nutrition perspective. I'm going to kick it off. So if you have any questions about video production, now would be a really, really good time to ask. Or recipe development too, because both Betsy and Innie do recipe development as well. So I'm going to start with cottage cheese, and you do not even need to be on social media. Although if you're on social media, you're probably like, what is going on? If you go to the grocery store now, like the cottage cheese section, which was literally like, it's nothing like the yogurt section, right? It's like this little area above the cream cheese. It's empty. So why is that? Like, what are we seeing happen with cottage cheese right now?
Cottage cheese ice cream.
It's delicious.
I personally can't tolerate dairy anymore, so I have no idea.
No, you will. No, well, of course, you're in Colombia. Like here, we have lactose-free cottage cheese.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have that, but Colombia, yes, is very limited on some of their things for sure. But is there a vegan cottage cheese that I think Innie was telling me about?
Yeah, there's some artisan places that make.
Yeah, so there's options, but that's the trend on TikTok is making this cottage cheese ice cream. I personally have not tried it, and I don't.
It's excellent. I will say, we probably should do some videos on that because it's trending so hard right now. I've done it as ice pops. It works great. But with the cottage cheese ice cream, where you're seeing the influencers like literally scoop it up and it just looks so like, it looks like a soft serve ice cream. So good. You have to watch it in the freezer. If it gets too cold, like if you leave it in overnight, it's a brick. Like you can't scoop it. So it can only be in the freezer for a short period of time. Like maybe, I think it was like 2 to 3 hours I found, but I blended Good Culture lactose-free cottage cheese with a little bit of maple syrup, some lemon zest, and raspberries. And
we need to make that into a video. That's a reel waiting to happen.
So good. So Christy is saying cottage cheese ice cream. She says, I'm out of touch. I've never heard of it.
Well, welcome.
Christy, I'm going to take that as a good sign that you're not scrolling on Instagram so much, because truly, like, cottage cheese ice cream has been, and it's not just ice cream, it's like cottage cheese bowls too, which I want to talk about. So I think we've already decided we should definitely do something on cottage cheese and do a vegan alternative. And Innie and I were brainstorming a little bit. Vegan cottage cheese, while available, it is somewhat of an artisan product.
Yes.
So we will do some recipe testing using silken tofu. I think if you were to blend silken tofu with like maple syrup and lemon zest and raspberries, you could probably get a very similar consistency. And then for savory, nutritional yeast, obviously,
Yeah.
and to give it like that cheesiness, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That could work. Yeah. So cottage cheese. What else are you seeing?
Oh, hash brown toast. Hash brown toast.
I have not seen that yet. What is it? Tell me. I haven't seen it yet. What is it?
People are buying those pre-made hash brown patties.
Okay.
And they're putting them in the toaster, and then they're doing like avocado hash brown toast. They're like going, whatever the avocado toast trend was. That's pretty much how the sweet potato toast trend was for a while. We're down on hash brown toast. So we need a toast video for sure.
Definitely.
Okay.
We gotta do a toast video.
And then there's another one. Innie, do you want to talk about that? Which I haven't done it yet, but I have some packages of gluten-free pastry dough, puff pastry in my freezer, and I definitely need to do it. So why don't you talk about that trend?
Oh, I actually don't know that trend.
Oh.
Betsy just informed me of that trend.
Puff pastries are really, really hot right now. You're going to see that absolutely everywhere. It's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. It's just where they take they're basically reverse engineering your puff pastry. So they put like the olive oil, then they put like the cheese
on a sheet pan. On a sheet pan.
On a sheet pan.
Right. So you put down parchment paper,
right?
And then you drizzle like maybe a teaspoon of olive oil just in one little spot. And then in that little spot, right, you stack, what would you stack, Betsy?
Herbs. I've seen herbs, cheese, vegetables. I've seen the same thing with fruit. and then they put the puff pastry on last.
Yeah.
And then they bake it, and then when it's done, it's flipped over and it's all one little unit.
It's actually really cool. I mean, it looks really cool. I hope I can get it to work. You know, when they take the puff pastry, now puff pastry, you know, just generally speaking, if you wouldn't want to eat a lot of it, right? Like it's not the most healthy thing to eat in volume, but if it serves as a vehicle for vegetables and fruits and can be, you know, something enjoyed on a special occasion, then why not, right? So they put the pastry on top of like this little pile of ingredients, and then they take a fork and they press it down into the pan so that everything just kind of melts together. I mean, looks fantastic. Has anybody tried that? Let us know if you've tried the puff pastry trend, because it looks really cool. Really cool appetizer. Could be just really interesting to load it up with veggies. Yeah. Any other trends you're seeing?
Okay, there's quite a few. So just to kind of go through a list, the blended oats, the blended baked oats.
Excellent.
Wait, tell me about that, Innie.
The blended baked oats is trending definitely in the vegan world. Because it's like you're having a dessert for breakfast. So you take your normal oats that you would cook on a stovetop, but you blend it in a Vitamix.
Yeah.
And you mix it all together, and then you put it in like in a ramekin and you bake it. And it comes out and it's like a dessert. And it's like, it doesn't taste healthy at all, but it's so delicious. It's like a cake almost.
No, like a mug cake almost, but no.
Almost like that. Yeah.
No egg in it?
No, definitely no egg. But you can. There are non-vegan versions of it, but yeah, you can.
You know, that could be really cool as like, you know, that could be even like a cobbler series, because I could envision that with like fruit on like chopped peaches on the top, strawberry rhubarb. Oh, we've got lots of ideas going. So for those of you who somebody is saying, Jasmine is saying, I need to look that up immediately. That's great.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. So we have cottage cheese, we have the blended oats, we have the puff pastry. What else?
Baked feta with tomatoes and garlic.
Oh my gosh.
In the pasta. Sometimes some of them are doing with the pasta where you add in the pasta. Some aren't, or just doing the baked feta. That's been popular. Also,
let's talk about that. So Innie, what could you use instead of the baked feta? I guess you could use vegan feta. Obviously.
Yeah, there's vegan feta, but I've done that trend with the vegan feta. It doesn't work well. It turns to a pool of oil. So you have to do it in a different sequence. But for the non-vegan version, you would take the feta, you season it with like oregano and some other spices. You put the cherry tomatoes in there and the oil and the basil. You let it bake. And then when it comes out, you mix it all together. You pour in your cooked pasta, and it's delicious. And the non-vegan version is great too, but you don't want to bake it because like I said, it just disintegrates.
Do you bake your tomatoes though?
Yeah, you do everything else the same.
Just the same, except
everything else the same.
Make like a whipped feta and you add it into the pasta, and it's delicious. Yeah.
And you could also, make it lower carbohydrate by using spaghetti squash or hearts of palm noodles, which that's my favorite. I love those hearts of palm noodles.
Palmini.
Or is it palmini? Yes.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? I don't know whose idea that was. Genius. And they charge like $5.99 a bag. So not necessarily the most accessible grocery item, but certainly spaghetti squash fits in, and other, like Banza pasta and all that. So yeah, super cool. So for those of you who are on right now, you have the opportunity to vote for some recipes and like recipe series that you want Innie and Betsy to produce next. So we have cottage cheese. So cottage cheese, we could do ice cream. We could do like the savory bowls. Like you could probably do like cottage cheese. You could probably do 3 cottage cheese bowls, I would think. Right. And make 3 vegan too. So if you want to vote for cottage cheese, and you can vote for more than one. So if you're on with us, just type in cottage cheese if you'd like to see some kind of series around that. And then we have the puff pastry with the vegetables and the fruit. So you could just type in pastry if that's something that appeals to you. What were the other ones that we said? Oh, the oats, the blended oats.
I think everybody would really like that one. And then the baked feta. And then I had 3 others that are kind of trending if you're interested in those.
Yeah, well, just mention them. Sure.
Okay, birria tacos are super hot.
The what?
Birria tacos.
What is that?
So it's just a way they season their meat. It's just really popular. Then they deep fry it.
And it's with a consomme sauce.
Yeah, it's very delicious.
I'm sure it is. Sounds a little
I
complicated.
actually go out and purchase that though, so I don't have to make it.
Yeah. What else you got, Betsy?
I said the blended olive oil coffee or different types of coffee drinks that you're going to see out. And one really fun one that I think sounded disgusting at first, but then I thought that actually does. It's kind of Subway-ish. So think of taking your Subway sandwich and taking the lettuce, tomato, onion, meat, cheese, all of it, and just cutting it up using like, what are those?
Huge fan. Like
like you cut it up really fine.
Yes,
it's called a chopped salad
Chopped
sandwich,
salad.
I think is what it's called.
chopped salad sandwiches. So you could do like an Italian sub chopped salad sandwich. You could do like a tuna sub. Like we have Jersey Mike's where I am. So that's kind of cool too. That's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
We have a lot of votes for the baked oats. Somebody is asking about the baked oats. A lot of sweet tooths on this feed today.
Oh.
I'm seeing blended oats. Oh my gosh. And somebody saying, oh my gosh, Birria tacos. Great. So the blended oats, Annie, what would be in that?
You can pick whatever flavor you want. So you can do chocolate, you can do apple cinnamon, you can do it's pumpkin spice. It's so many varieties you can do, but you just have an essential base. Like I just use oats and I always use cinnamon, and you can always put in like some flax or chia seeds, and you blend that up with your non-dairy milk of choice. Right. And then whatever spice, whatever flavor you're going to make it, and then you blend it. And then you can always top it with a fresh fruit on top. And then you can also do a savory version. I love savory oats.
That's interesting. Is there any rising agent? Any baking soda? No.
It just from how it's blended, it's not like a souffle. It's like in between like a mug cake and souffle. It's like in the middle.
Okay. Oh,
it's
Barbara.
Not dense at all.
Barbara has a really cool idea. Have either one of you made the yogurt bagels? I know you can make this vegan for sure. Have either one of you made the yogurt bagels?
I don't even know what that is.
It's 2 ingredients and it's fantastic. I have made those, Barbara, with gluten-free because I have to be gluten-free. So it's basically just flour and yogurt. That's it. And you make a dough and then
yes,
that's it, right? And
it's
then
dough. I thought you meant yogurt on the bagel.
No, like the yogurt, ingredients. So yogurt and flour, and you blend it. We could totally do that and do different flavors. So obviously everything, I'm a Jersey girl, so everything bagels. We could do that. You could do a flagel, which is more like you take that dough and you make it flat and you put olive oil and chopped onion and poppy seeds in the middle. That's really good. So, wow, we have lots of ideas. Karen is saying
the same dough makes actually really great cinnamon rolls too. You use that same dough and make really, we don't have to let them rise and knead and all that stuff. You can use it as a quick dough. That's another way to, form a pastry.
Does it work? Does it work well with gluten-free flour blends?
Yes. Yeah.
It
does. It does. I use King Arthur, which is good, but Cup for Cup is also very good. But really, again, when we're producing videos for our community, we are thinking about the consumer. Right. Yeah. Keeping it easy, keeping it simple, making it delicious. So something like the yogurt bagels, which can serve as vehicles for all kinds of really great stuff. That could be something really fun to share. Somebody is suggesting the ricotta cheese ice cream trend, which I actually think started first before cottage cheese. And I think cottage cheese is taken over because it tends to be a little bit less expensive. Everybody's saying all these ideas are fantastic. Cool. I think we've planned our content through the end of the year.
I think so too.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. So this is our Q&A strategy call. I was super excited to bring Betsy and Annie on to have this initial conversation. I am now going to move to just sharing some of our new integrations with you, our new developments in the software, and then also answering some frequently asked questions. If you guys don't have any other questions for Annie and Betsy, we're going to say goodbye right now. Of course, Betsy and Annie, you're welcome to stay on, or you can just keep producing and eating. Can't wait, just because I know you do enjoy the food after you make it. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So just before you sign off today, you're making 3 recipes from Jasmine and Ashley's site, Eat Well Exchange. And they are the cabbage stir fry, the chickpea stew, and what else?
Sweet potato hash.
Sweet potato hash.
Excellent. Are there eggs in the sweet potato hash? Or are these all vegan?
All vegan so far.
Yeah, they're all vegan.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much. For those of you on with me, stay put because I am going to be sharing the grocery list improvements with you as well as the full script integration. Betsy and Innie, thank you so much. I appreciate you both so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so glad to be with you guys today.
Take care. All right. So that was fun, right? I loved having them on. It was last minute and just super great. Nice casual conversation. Okay. I am going to come back to our agenda here. So that was the introduction to our cooking video production team. As a reminder, inside of the private Facebook group, Scale Your Nutrition Practice, in the documents section, we do have a form that you can fill out. So if you are looking for specific cooking videos or a series that would support you with having a conversation around food with your clients, let us know. All of our content is member driven. So we hear from you, and then our content development board decides, they kind of prioritize what's going to come first. So just continue to give us feedback and let us know what you're looking for. All right. So first up here, I just wanted to cover this quickly. Our assessment tool pilot has begun. For those of you who don't know, we have partnered with the company VioCare. They have a validated picture dietary assessment tool called VioScreen. It's used in research, and it's super terrific for the assessment phase of your nutrition counseling sessions. And, typically that assessment phase has been, it's really been lousy, like kind of an uncomfortable place to be, because you have to ask people to do dietary recalls, like either write it down or, record it somehow in the EHR, or maybe you're in person and you're just talking about it. It can be uncomfortable, and it's notoriously inaccurate because people, can feel judged when they're asked to record their foods. And then ultimately also you don't get any type of qualitative data out of that, right? So there's no score or anything to measure their success with dietary intake. It tends to be a little bit more qualitative. So with the dietary assessment tool, we now have the ability to issue dietary assessments to patients and clients, have them in the comfort of their own home, go through the picture-based tool, and at the end, a score and a report is generated. And the pilot is 3 months long and is intended to measure progress. So clients who are new to your practice, or clients who you are currently working with to achieve a goal. So they might not be a new client, maybe an existing client who is trying to achieve a new goal. If you are looking to measure progress with dietary intake, which hopefully you are, you definitely want to participate in this pilot. We have 100 practitioners in it right now that have already started, but probably through the end of this week, we could add a few more. I added 3 more practitioners today who just signed up for Living Plate RX and like, what is this dietary assessment tool? It sounds amazing. And the reason why we're doing this pilot is because we want to integrate the assessment tool into Living Plate RX. So before you issue a meal plan, before you do anything with regards to food recommendations for your clients, you send them the assessment tool to kind of see where they're at. So basically putting a pin in the map saying, here's where you are, and then determining what the destination is and hopefully measuring their progress. Barbara is saying, does it measure macro and micronutrients? Yes, Barbara, it does. There are all kinds of reports that you can get. And you as a practitioner make the decision on who gets to see the reports. So initially, I think it's kind of nice. I took the assessment myself, which every practitioner is encouraged to do. So you take the assessment, and as a practitioner, you can decide whether the client gets the basic report or not. The basic report basically assigns them a healthy eating index score and just gives them a very light breakout of carbs, proteins, fats. Maybe their saturated fat intake was a little high, or maybe their carb intake was a little high. Just, you'll be able to see that on the report. And then all of the other reports, Barbara, give that more detailed data. That's intended for the practitioner to review with the client. So ultimately, you may want to share all of these reports with your clients, But, the basic report is one that they can get immediately, which is kind of fun because, it's like an accomplishment. Oh, I finished my dietary assessment. Plus it also nobody's going to score 100% and get a perfect score. I don't think so. So they're all going to be able to see okay, there's room for improvement here. And that's where my practitioner is going to help me. Barbara is saying, does it measure emotion-based eating? I don't think so. I think this is an intake form. It's a dietary assessment tool. I don't think so, Barbara, but we can certainly ask that question. So email me and we will be in touch with the VioScreen team and we can ask them that question. Marcia is saying, I submitted an application but did not get a response. I guess, Marcia, it would depend on when you submitted that application. So we processed it in batches of 25. And I think the last time we processed a batch was the beginning of last week. So Marcia, send me an email. Let me know you want to participate. We'll get you on the list and we'll get you started. It takes 5 minutes to set up your account and off you go. You'll just take the assessment tool and you can start using it in practice. What we ask of every pilot participant is that you have 10 patients do the assessment twice, a pre and a post, because we're looking to measure progress. So we're looking for 10 patients or clients with an initial assessment and then a final assessment within that 3-month window. Raksha is saying she also did not get a response. That's unusual. I'm so sorry. So it just might be a timing thing. Send me an email. If you want to participate, send me an email at jpetrucci@livingplaterx.com, or I will be in Zendesk this afternoon. You can just drop a note in Zendesk, and you can do that very easily from your dashboard. And just let me know, and we'll make sure that we get you on the list. Okay, so not too late, but we probably will have to close enrollment on Friday because we need to give you enough of a runway so that your clients can, so that you can measure success for your clients. Okay, the Fullscript integration. What I love about what has happened here with the improvement of this integration is that it came from you, the community. You guys told us what you needed to make this better. We have had the Fullscript integration probably for 1.5 years now. And I don't think enough people are using it in practice. I don't think enough people are using it to the most that it can be used. And one of the reasons that we heard why was because when you opened up a client account, you couldn't see previous recommendations. So if you are an existing Fullscript user, you already have an account and you're already making recommendations to clients, before what I'm going to show you today, you were not able to see those previous recommendations. So then you'd have to go into Fullscript, pull up their account. It was a little bit laborious. Chris, our tech wizard, has significantly improved the process. So if a client, you create a meal plan client account, if they have a Fullscript account and your Fullscript account is connected to Living Plate RX, which is super easy to do, you just press the button, their previous recommendations will show. And you can update those recommendations, you can edit them, you can reorder, you can make other recommendations. And I'm going to show you that now. It's really, really great. So for those of you, do we have any Fullscript users here? Let me know. Just say Fullscript if you are a Fullscript user while I queue up this screen. I just want to here we are. All right, I'm going to share my screen now and we're going to review the Fullscript integration. All right, I think we can use this window. Perfect. All right, I am going to hide myself so that we can make this nice and big. Perfect. So let me know if you're using Fullscript. Hi, Allison and Giselle. Good to see you here. All right, what you are looking at, Allison does use Fullscript. So what you are looking at here is the Living Plate RX dashboard. We are in the process of redesigning the dashboard. So you're going to start seeing some minor tweaks and improvements to the dashboard in the next few months. So you go to the Clients tab here. And oops, let me just delete this here and let's look at our list of clients. Okay, so we have Caroline Genetics, this is my demo account. This is not a real client. Let me click on Caroline and see what we have. So I have made previous Fullscript recommendations for Caroline. This is brand new. You have not been able to see this before. So the intent of me showing you this screen is to share with you now that you can see the Fullscript recommendations. You can see when they were activated. When did you make this recommendation? You can also click on this arrow and it will expand it. So you can also view and edit it here. Now, when I click on view and edit, it's going to take me to my practitioner Fullscript account, but right to that page. So I'm like in the zone here. Really, really easy to now edit this. I can also make a new recommendation. So if I click new here, it's going to take me to that client's account, Caroline Genetics, and I can make recommendations. As soon as I make this recommendation for Caroline, it will appear here. Are there any questions about the Fullscript integration? Does anybody have questions about the Fullscript integration? Hold on, here we go. All right. Celine is saying Fullscript. Yes, we have quite a few people using Fullscript. So now you can view previous recommendations, you can make recommendations, and you can edit recommendations. If you do not have a Fullscript account yet, just connect one, like just create one. It's free. And with Fullscript, you decide as the practitioner if you're going to take commissions or not. And if you are going to take commissions, you can also, I think it's up to 35%. You can also decide what those commissions are going to be. So it might be 10%, it might be 20%. Maybe you want to pass on that discount to your clients. Maybe a discount on supplements is part of a new program that you're putting together. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, the Nutrition Content Creator podcast, the most recent one that I did called The Passive Income Paradox, and you can find a link to the podcast is on the website, Living Plate RX. I talk about things like this, adding value. It doesn't cost you anything to add supplement recommendations or a supplement protocol to an offer, right? So you can do that, and you can offer a nice discount for your like concierge clients or your membership clients if you'd like. All right, so really simple. Just go to the client. If their Fullscript account is not connected, you can connect it here, and then you'll see this. Now I'm going to disconnect this so that you can see what it looks like when it's not connected. This also looks a bit different for you. If the client email, right? So I entered the client's email to create the meal planning account. If that email matches with the Fullscript account, it will show here, and you can just create a new recommendation. But sometimes, Chris thought of everything here. Sometimes the email that somebody uses to create their client account might be different from their Fullscript account. So you can actually connect to a patient's Fullscript account if it has another email here. You can actually connect that to their Living Plate RX. And then again, you would be able to see those recommendations here. Betsy is saying, love your podcast. Thanks, Betsy. It's just me talking like I do here. So if you just want to take me on a walk with you or drive in the car, you have that access to me now that way. Thanks, Betsy. Appreciate it. All right. So that is it for our new Fullscript, our new and improved Fullscript integration. Anybody have any questions about that? The Fullscript integration, you can ask now, because we are going to move on to our grocery list. All right, now that I'm already in the same place, so let's go ahead and take a look at our editable grocery list. Again, this is something that our community has been begging for months. Now, this was not, I'm just going to hide myself there so I can have a bigger screen. This was not easy. This was resource intensive, both time and money, but this was something that needed to happen. So I know that you will appreciate it and value the work that has been done. So let's go ahead and let's just go into a planner here. Now, when you are in any planner, a client planner or a signature planner, you have access to your grocery list. So you edit the planner to be exactly where you want it to be, and then you generate a grocery list, which is this icon here. Tracy is saying, I listen to you as well. I recommend everyone to listen. It's so good. Thanks, Tracy. I love it. And you know what, you guys, if you have any topics that you want me to explore on the podcast, please let me know. Either drop me a note, send me an email, or use that content recommendation form in the Facebook group. Healthy Digs is asking a question. What happens if the client has an account set up with another practitioner? Then you need to reach out to us, Susan, because we would have to get permission from that client to switch them over to you. So it can happen for sure. And it does happen. It happens with meal plans too, by the way, where somebody signed up for like a Living Plate meal plan when I had a private practice, but now they're working with somebody like Susan. So we have to manually switch that person over. So it's an easy thing to do, but it does have to be done manually, Susan. So just reach out to us. So I have the grocery list now. Let me just, oh wait, here. Okay, so the calendar isn't here because this is a non-calendar plan, but it works exactly the same way. You just select the days or the week that you want to print for. And there are a couple of things that you can do here. So up here in the right-hand corner, this was Chris's idea because he and his wife actually use the planner. And sometimes he wants to copy the grocery list and paste it. He uses another app for just like managing communications with his family. So you can copy this and post it somewhere else, either in like a Google Doc or a Word doc, and send it to someone. Or, I mean, you can print from here, but this is really intended to just capture the list and paste it somewhere else. So you can do that here. You can also reset any changes. Let's just go ahead and make some changes here. I'm going to delete some things. So you can now see I'm deleting certain things, but I can also go back to where it was. I can reset the grocery list in case I make a mistake. So you can also add items now. Now, let's say somebody is doing my grocery list and I need paper towels. This is not something that is on the Living Plate RX grocery list, or diapers or water or any other branded products that might not be on the list. You can add the item and then you just pick the category. This is going to be other, and I'm going to add it. It is now added to my grocery list. Of course, I didn't say how many, but it was added to the list here. Go ahead and ask questions as I'm working, if you have any. So one of the main drivers to making the list editable was what you're seeing right here. So we have bell peppers 2, red bell pepper 1, bell pepper yellow. Well, the bell pepper yellow, and, I guess if color doesn't matter to you in terms of the bell peppers, you could consolidate these. So you could just add, let's say I wanted to consolidate these. We have 1 red bell pepper and then we have 2 peppers, but it's really bell peppers, doesn't matter what color, 3. I'm going to add that to my produce category, add it here. And then I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to delete this one. So now I have, this one here, right? Now I have my 3 bell peppers. So really easy. This is probably not something that clients are going to take time to do. Although, if you have tech savvy clients and they really want to edit their grocery list, they can do that. But if you are offering plans for, as signature plans for programs, you now have, look, here's 2 more red bell peppers. Perfect example. So now I'm going to delete those 2, and then I'm going to add them here. So we'll have bell peppers. That was 2, right? So 5. Great. So I'm going to add my 5 bell peppers, and I'm going to delete my 3 here. So let's just delete that. And now we have 5 bell peppers. So consolidating. The reason why the planner doesn't automatically consolidate for you is because every recipe is different and unique. So sometimes it's 3 carrots, but then other times it's like 2 cups of shredded carrot. So you can't always translate the measurements to make sense. This probably should be corrected. Like, this would have to be done recipe by recipe. We have over 5,000 recipes, so it could take a long time. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen. But obviously this is 1 cup of cilantro. So I'm going to do cilantro, 1 cup, and tidy this up really nicely. Okay. And then I'm going to delete the cilantro 3/4 cup and cilantro 1/4 cup. Done. Oop, done. So now it's nice and neat. We have cilantro 1 cup. Any questions about the grocery list? You can also delete items. Now, of course, the recipe is on the meal planner, so you probably don't want to delete items unless you're like a client and well, I already have 3 apples. I already have 1 avocado. You can either X them off the list. You can remove them from the list, or you can check that I have them already. The reason why you might want to eliminate them is because you have them at home. This checklist could be used if you're shopping from your phone or your mobile device. That's kind of how this is intended to be used. So you have both ways of indicating that you do not need to buy or that you've already purchased those items for the grocery list. Oh, Allison, I was getting to your question. So Allison has a question. Is there a video tutorial available for this, similar to the general meal planner? Yes, I am, and I'm going to show you in a minute, Allison, where those video tutorials are for the meal planners. I need to refresh them all, especially now that we have the Fullscript integration cleaned up and we've expanded the functions in the grocery list. So I will be doing those videos tomorrow. So you can expect by the end of the week, they will be in your library. And Allison, they will be downloadable. So if you wanted to send them to clients, you could brand them and send them to clients. I'm going to keep them really, really simple. Okay. Any other questions about the grocery list? Okay, let's come back to hello. All right, so that is the grocery list integration. Now we're going to move on to frequently asked questions. We got this question twice this week. We have a lot of new members. It's just so wonderful that our growth has remained consistent. So we have a lot of new members joining us every week, and you know, it's a lot. We're a lot, right? Like I often say, I'm like an introvert's worst nightmare. Like if you're coming into the party, I'm like, you know, welcome. Here's all the food. Here's all the stuff. And I kind of feel like, you know, some people come into our community and they're paralyzed by all of the resources that they have access to. So it's really, really great that they have access to all these resources, but sometimes they question, you know, where am I going to start? Or like, how do I use these? So, you know, where do I start can sometimes be, and we did have a question in our Facebook group where this answer is relevant. Sometimes the question is business related, not necessarily content or meal plan related. What is your objective? And that's really the first question you have to ask yourself. What is your objective, right? If you are looking to grow your business, grow your practice, which most of us are, how are you going to be using this content? And start with one thing. Maybe it's lead generation. So think about your sales funnel. I think that the sales funnel is such a great place to start. Again, if you haven't listened to the podcast, I have an entire episode on the sales funnel. So you can listen to that and it'll give you a really good idea of content that fits in different parts of your sales funnel. Now, if you're just getting started, excuse me. If you're just getting started, you're going to probably want to start with content that would live at the top of the funnel. So like a lead magnet or an email challenge or an email series. And we have plenty of content there to support you with generating a lead magnet. So just accomplish one thing at a time. And then, you know, as you start getting traction, the other things will kind of fall into place. We also support our new members with the Nutrition Content Creation Academy. Excuse me, I have a tickle. Hold on. The Nutrition Content Creation Academy shows you exactly how to use all of the resources in the library, like step by step, how to, you know, grab it from the library, go to Canva, brand it. It takes you through everything. It also takes you through kind of branding and business goals and objectives and things like that. So that's where I would start. I get the sense sometimes when I'm asked this question that people are overwhelmed, like, oh, I want to start my business. Like, you know, should I redo my website? Should I, you know, start offering a course? Like if you're just getting started, definitely don't offer a course. Definitely pay attention to your website. If you have a crummy website, none of the beautiful content that you have access to is going to matter much. You do need to have a really solid foundation on which to make your offers and make yourself known to your ideal customer avatar. So having a really it doesn't have to be professionally designed, but it should be really clean. And it should be very clear on who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. You need to answer those 3 questions pretty quickly when somebody looks at your website and also on social media: who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. So where do you start? Again, it depends. So please reach out to us. We have a lot of resources for you. Karen Reiser, Karen, if you're still on with me, could you drop that link again? Karen Reiser offers coaching calls, live coaching calls in a Zoom room. So that is another place where you start. So the Nutrition Content Creation Academy, start thinking about your business goals, and then join these calls, because Karen is an unbelievable resource who is going to support you with, kind of pointing you in the right direction. Like, okay, where are you going to start? Right. So Tracy is saying, yes, very good podcast on lead generation. Yeah. So make sure you guys listen to that episode. I think it was episode 2. Okay. Karen, thank you so much. So Karen did drop her link to join the coaching calls. There are limited seats. So if you can attend more than one coaching call, but we ask that if you do join a coaching call, show up, because we have limited availability. And if you don't show up, it's a seat that somebody else could have had, because they close out pretty quickly. But Karen has very generously published her coaching call schedule. I think, Karen, right now through August, actually. So go ahead and sign up for those that you think that you can attend. And I promise you, like, we're not going to leave you high and dry. Like, you don't come into this space and then it's like, good luck with that. We're really here to walk you through it and kind of help you find your way. And if you need to be pointed in the direction of another resource, let's say your website does need some TLC, we have a resource for that. Our partners at String Marketing are experts at website design and really optimizing that for you. Patricia is saying, I am an RN health coach, so I can also use these resources. Absolutely, Patricia. It's interesting. We have gotten some questions. One of the frequently asked questions that we get is from health coaches on how I can use the content. So if you are a healthcare professional, as an RN, you have access actually to the healthcare professional library. So if you work as part of an interdisciplinary team, you get access to the prescriptive content, which represents a very small portion of our library, and then everything else. The health coaches and the educators, the nutrition educators and community educators have access to all of the non-prescriptive content, which, again, 95% of our library is non-prescriptive. So there's plenty there for everybody to use. In terms of how you use it and kind of where you start, it's really within your scope of practice. If you are in a state that has licensure, and they've told you that you can't issue meal plans, what they're saying is that you can't issue meal plans as part of a nutrition prescription. But can you use a meal plan for like a healthy cooking challenge, or can you use recipes to help people with their culinary skills? 100%. And all of that helps drive positive health outcomes. So really, Patricia, just think about what your scope of practice is and what your objective is. If you want to get people in the kitchen cooking more plants, then you have access to tons of materials to help you do that. It doesn't always have to be prescriptive. And when I say prescriptive, that is a recommendation coming from you that will impact a very specific health outcome, like diabetes, or if somebody has been touched by cancer, or PCOS or kidney disease, right? Those are all prescriptive content buckets. And we have more clinical partners joining us. So hospitals and institutions, we are going to be expanding our clinical content significantly, our prescriptive content significantly in the upcoming year. So if you are a healthcare professional and you're looking for that, you're going to have access to that. Oh, you're welcome, Patricia. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I just wanted to give you an update on this. Let me tell you something. This was so much fun. So you guys are probably like, well, wait, where's Plant-Based Chefs if you're publishing this? So while Karen Reiser was doing the last pass on Plant-Based Chefs, Karen and I are meeting. I think, Karen, we're meeting tomorrow. We're going to get through it. Plant-Based Chefs is at the finish line. So for those of you who have been waiting for that, it is just about ready. Truly, every time that we asked somebody to review it, we found more stuff. So Karen, her eyes were the last ones on it, and we're going to work together to get this across the finish line. Karen is saying, yes. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's so good. It's so good. And in fact, when Karen was going through Plant-Based Chefs, she's like, I think we need to make some improvements to the original Chefs program. So yeah, that's going to be perfect. Sonia is saying, I am a holistic chef who specializes in plant-based meals. Oh, you're going to love Chefs Plant-Based for sure. So while Karen was working on that, we had gotten in the Facebook group a very enthusiastic response to somebody asking for like content directed at children, specifically for like a culinary camp. Like, what if I wanted to run a special camp this summer for kids? And it sounded like there were several people wanting to do that. And I had done that. I ran this camp twice. It was called Kitchen Lab, a summer camp for kids. Have any of you taken a look at that? let me know if you've drop a note here and let me know if you've looked at that and let me know what you think. Feedback has been amazing. It was a super fun camp to run. Like, it just makes me smile every time I think about it. The kids were fantastic. We had, I think in the first group, we had 8. And in the second cohort, I think there were 10, maybe 12 children. I wouldn't do more than 12. 15 is like pushing it unless you have added support. But it's a nice program for a small culinary camp, but also you could run it as an after school program. So this is giving you some real marketing chops. If you want to work with a school running a culinary nutrition program, you need to check out the Kitchen Lab, the summer camp for kids. It is in the library. Jasmine is saying, it's amazing. I'm testing it with my kids next week. Excellent. Excellent. Sonia is saying, yes, we do that with my company, Pearson Culinary Coaching. Perfect. So you now have access to this entire program. It was set up as a 5-day camp. So you have 5 modules. You can run it however you want. If you're going to do it as an after-school program, and it is appropriate, I would say, for children 9 and up, not for like you could modify it for preschool, but in lower school. But I think 9 years old is really perfect for like the full experience. This is an experiential camp. There are no slide decks. We don't sit and make children learn that way, right? We get them in the kitchen. And I think what was really innovative about the development of this program was that we have a focus on food science. So for example, when there are several week-long activities and you have an activity every day, there's like a food science experiment every single day. And you know where I got those food science experiments? From my food science lab class that I took 10 years ago in order to get into my master's program. I'm like, oh, well, those will work. That's really cool. So we have a mystery food box, for example, and I show you a picture of what this food box looks like. And you take a piece of food that the kids might not be familiar with, and you put it inside a box. They have to feel it. They have to smell it and they have to taste it. Everybody gets like a separate piece of it and they have to guess what it is. And they have like a little lab notebook. Just let me tell you, super cute. Loved doing it. So yeah, Jasmine is saying it's amazing. Sonia, I love it. Yeah, great. Check it out. You guys are going to love it. And you know what? Even if you're not running a camp or an after school program, if you work with children, there's a lot of children's materials in there as well. For example, Eat the Rainbow. If you take a look at our Rainbow of Nutrition handout, it really is geared more towards adults. So we changed the language on the inside there to make it more appropriate for children. Raksha, yes, you do have access. It is in the library. I do apologize. You will have to scroll because we don't have our search functionality yet. That's on the development list. But it is there. The Kitchen Lab is there. It's called Kitchen Lab, a summer camp for kids. It says in development, but that's just because we've just published it. What I've decided with all new programs is that they will be not in development, in review. Like the detox program, I'm going to be taking out of review this week. It has been in review for 2 weeks. Our community has been in there. We found a couple of links that didn't work, which no matter how many times I go through a course and my team and I, like, there's always going to be a link that doesn't work or goes to the wrong place. So it's all cleaned up now. So that's ready to go. Kitchen Lab, I'll probably keep in another week or so. Just get in there, start clicking links and give us your feedback on that. Okay. Great. Collections versus presentations. So we have very little left in Teachable. There are a lot of people who, some of you have been really patient with us. Some have gotten a little frustrated, and I don't blame you at all for that. We've had some collections like intermittent fasting, I think intuitive eating, which we actually have already transitioned over to a collection and a course, and like building a healthy kitchen, just really a handful that have not been transitioned over to Kajabi yet, because we haven't created them into the course format that we're now using in Kajabi, right? So every collection that you now have access to in Kajabi is positioned and structured as a course on our evidence-based framework, and they're called collections. But there's still value in building a healthy kitchen and also the intermittent fasting as a presentation. So we're going to move those over. I'm going to title them as presentations until we can transition them over to a full collection and course. All right. So for those of you who've been looking for those smaller pieces that aren't in there yet, they're coming soon, because we are going to be shutting down the Teachable site, hoping at the end of this month, maybe have to go to the end of July. I'm hesitant and a little scared to pull the trigger on that, but it has to happen because we're all in Kajabi now. So Barbara is saying, how can we access the content in Teachable that hasn't been moved over yet? By the end of this week, everything will be moved over, Barbara. So if you're looking for something specific, let me know, Barbara. But there's very few collections that haven't been moved yet. I think Building a Healthy Kitchen, which a lot of that material is in Chefs, so probably doesn't even need to be in the library. Intermittent fasting and intuitive eating. The intuitive eating, Karen Reiser has already transitioned that over to a course. So we're just building that out into Kajabi, and we're going to publish that as a full course and collection. Celine is saying, are you still making those 90-day social media calendars? I don't know, Celine. Like, do you think it's necessary? It's interesting that you asked that question. We've had that question before. So what Celine is referring to, before we had built out our collections the way that you see them in Kajabi, which is we build them out as if it was a course so that you can see everything in the right place, the evaluations, the goal setting, the cooking videos, it's all laid out nice and neatly for you. Before we did that, we did, and before we offered social media content, done for you social media content, we did have these social media calendars. They were 90 days, so 3-month calendars of just ideas that exist inside of your facilitator's guide. So inside of the facilitator's guide for, let's say, fuel your fertility, right? Actually, that's not a good one because I didn't do a social media calendar for that one. The inflammation, the power of food, great example. We had a 90-day social media calendar, and on each day, we just had a topic. There was no post, there was no caption, it was just a topic. All of the information for that topic was in the facilitator's guide, but you would actually have to find the content and create the social media post. So if you are thinking that you want to have that back in place, let me know. I don't know that people are using those anymore now that we actually provide you with social media. But, Celine, maybe there's something in between that we could do. Maybe what we could do is offer perhaps a list of 30 social media posts from your social media collection that could fit into that framework. Would that work, Celine? I don't know. Let's talk about it at our next content development board meeting because you're on the content development board. So we can talk about that. Okay. Barbara, I saw that you sent a message in Zendesk. I actually viewed your message this morning, so I will get back to you on that. Okay, perfect. All right, so the collections versus presentations, you will be seeing some labeled as presentations, and that's just because we haven't had them built out as courses yet. Okay. And Jasmine is saying those social media calendars were helpful, especially now that we have ChatGPT. Sure, I think that makes sense. That's logical to me. Okay, then we'll keep them. All right, lastly on our agenda for today is submissions and review of content requests. We are member-driven content. I do not come up with the content ideas. All of the content ideas are coming from our community and from our content development board. So if you have an idea, or if you're not seeing something inside of the library, you need to submit that idea so that we know. If you don't tell us, we don't know. And then we will create that content for you. We'll get on our content development calendar. If we need to find somebody who is an expert on that topic, in order to build that piece of content out, then that's what we do. So make sure that you fill out that form. It is in Scale Your Nutrition Practice, and it is in the forums. I think I should also probably add that to our library, like our front desk. So actually, you know what it is? It's going to be the suggestion box. I just thought of that. How about that? Remember, my mom was a librarian, so I know libraries. So that's what we're going to do. Inside of as soon as we're done here, I'm going to create it. Inside of the front desk at the library. So when you log into your library, you're going to see the front desk first. Go into that, and we're going to have a suggestion box. And you can open that up, and I will drop in the content submission form there. And then once you submit your content, it is going to go into review with our content development board. What we're setting up right now is a polling system so that our 12 practitioners on the board can rank content ideas in terms of like preference and priority, right? So what needs to be developed first, and whatever is at the top of the list, that's what we're going to develop first for the upcoming months. Okay, Raksha is saying I would keep the social calendar. Okay, sounds like we should keep it. And again, that's a very good point that Jasmine made about the social media calendars. Now that we have ChatGPT, if it says, 3 ways to, stay hydrated, like that's the idea, you can just go into that facilitator's guide, copy that content, and ask ChatGPT to generate a social media caption for you. So you have the evidence-based content and you have the topic, and then you can have it built out. So yeah, pretty cool. I love that idea. Thank you so much for thinking of that, everyone. All right. So if there aren't any other questions, we're done. Mostly on time. But look, it was so great to have Betsy and Innie on. I hope that you enjoyed having them with us and got some value out of what they had to say. I always learn something when I work with these ladies. We're looking forward to, we're going to review kind of what recommendations you made for upcoming cooking videos. We're going to plug that in. Sounds like the blended oats is very popular. So we'll definitely put that on the development list. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Don't forget to sign up for Karen Reiser's coaching calls. She's dropped in the link twice here now. So click that link, book yourself a seat. The next one is next week. And then after that, you'll see me again here. And then we'll follow up again with a coaching call at the end of the month. Allison is saying, is the suggestion box going to be within Kajabi library? Yes, Allison. It's actually already in the Facebook group in documents. Facebook doesn't make it so easy to leave an evergreen link in the Facebook group. So if you go to Scale Your Nutrition Practice, Allison, where you are right now, there's a documents folder. Click on that and you'll see the content submission form. But I am also going to put the suggestion box with the link in the front desk in your library. So Raksha saying, I love your work. Thank you. I just love this community so much. You guys are the best. Thanks so much and have a beautiful week. I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.